That's, my father was a cowboy. He grew up on a horse farm, and he still has it. He had 600 acres, now he has 250. I was just there. So I spent my summers with my grandfather on his place, riding the horses and that. And at the age of 13, we moved there, Western Pennsylvania, and we took it over. My brother's still there now. And yeah, to the chagrin of a lot of my peers, when I first wrote this 10 years ago, they were admonished by it. I mean, they admonished me about it. They stepped back, and there goes the upturned nose thing about us jazz folks, rightly so, and maybe I'll get into that. And they said, and I'm gonna say this, they said, what the hell are you doing? You're in the apex of your career right now. You just mined the Great American Songbook. You know, you're doing a lot of bop, you're doing a lot of swing in that. You're just ready to break through that cusp of it. Why are you going back to this hunky-dory thing? Until they heard what I was doing. And I tried to tell them that it's not about yo down the thing, it's about the American psyche. Because the music that we are portraying today at this festival and in your publication or whatever, it's about where we come from as Americans. It's a melting pot. It's a gift to the world. And sometimes you need to isolate pockets of it so that people can look back and glean from that. When you look at Ray Charles, we did the 2 Western albums. When you look at Charlie Pride, when you look at Dinah Washington and Brooke Benton singing country together, there's such a wonderful, there was a time in America where white, black, Native American, whatever it was, sat together on a porch. You had to, because we worked together. You had to farm together. You traded pigs and I'll give you corn. You know, you work in the mill and I'll drive you to Sunday. There was a time that we all worked together in an agrarian lifestyle. And because of that, we shared our music together. It was only happened when the phonograph and films came along that they decided to separate it. You know, now it's this, now it's that. So I went back to that, not to tap into it, but just to empower those who are disenfranchised, children, especially children of color, who the only images, as myself, of course, had growing up was porters, dishwashers, maids, Gone with the Wind, Hattie McDaniels, and that was it. That's the only images that they had in the screen. So in turn, they rebelled and embraced the Tupacs and embraced the Curtis Mayfield Superfly. They embraced that to have something. I said, wait a minute, there was a time in our country where people of color and people of Native American and people of Asian descent, you know, we worked together to build this land out west, whether it was the railroad, whether it was herding cattle, whatever it was. And out of that came a music that they just labeled country at the turn of the 20th century. But prior to that, 1890 to 1920, it was just called American music, and everybody played it. So I tried to recreate that. I was admonished a little bit until they heard what I was doing, because I went back and sat at the feet of some people who were truly innovators of it and who truly understand where it was coming from. And now it's taken off. They connect. I'm doing a show of the concert version of it, April 22nd in New York at the Rockwood Hall, Music Hall. Great venue, great sound system. I'm doing a two show set of the songs, about 20-something tunes. And usually when I do it, it's a musical version with narrative in that. But this time we're just doing grit. We're breaking it down a little bit. It's a little more blues, R&B tinge with some jazz overlay, because that's where I come from. And the musicians that I play with are very school, and I have to give them something, because they uplifted with that margin of jazz.
So is there a website they go to find exactly when it
Yes,
happened?
thank you. AllanHarris.com, AllanHarris.com, and you'll go on there and you see a myriad of stuff that I do, but single out Cross That River. And once you press on Cross the River, it opens up a whole barrage of what I'm doing, from the music to the players to the storyline, because it's built upon 1855, a runaway slave from Louisiana to Texas becomes a black cowboy. And it opens up and tells their story. And it's not just a black story, it's a story of America, because I have so many different characters from different walks of life who he touches on the great cattle drives. And it opens up from there. Well, just to give credence to Lee, at the inception of it, out of the myriad of journalists, myriad of writers, promoters and that, who didn't turn their back on it, but they waited till it was happening before they jumped on it. Lee was the first one that actually jumped out on the forefront and gave me a full-page article in the magazine. Not only did he give me an article talking about it, he described in such florid terms that I use that in my press now. I really owe him a debt of that, because it opened up the minds of a lot of those who were looking at it through the lens of honky-tonk. He married it to his jazz publication, and it opened it up. So I just want to say thank him for that.